All right, so what's going on? Welcome back to part two of the Flag Plus Football First and Goal podcast. So again, last time out, the video that you guys have seen online, we did Division 6B, 6A, 5B, 5B, 4B, 4A, Division 3, Division 2. So as we promised now, we have Division 1 for you. We're going to have the ladies covered as well with both women's divisions. We're going to also have co-ed as well. So thanks for coming back for part two. Hopefully you guys like part one. He's Brent, I'm Quaysie, so let's hop into it. Division one, seven teams, six makes the playoffs. I mean, it's a cream of the crop. And Flag Plus Football, at least on the men's side, right? The best of the best in Division One. Quaysie, you're part of that, playing for running once. Sorry, running twice, my bad. I apologize. What are your impressions so far, Quaysie, about Division One?
So one thing that's really surprising me is the All Stars. Right now they're 1-2. I believe they played last night. Actually, I was across from scorekeeping. 1-2. Kevin also has thrown 5 interceptions in the last 3 games. It's a crazy stat. I believe Kevin doesn't throw much interceptions going down the whole season. So to throw 5 interceptions already, and we're only I think they played 3 games. So I mean that's something that stands out. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. His QB rating is 90.7, which is also something that you don't usually see. But that's something that kind of it's standing out. It's I don't know if it's maybe just the start of the season, 3 games in, or it's something that's going to be a problem going forward. But it's something to look at.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, you look at Kevin Wife. I mean, let's be honest. It is what it is. He's the greatest player to step foot in FPF. I had a chance to play tackle with him before he joined FPF, and I can tell you from playing tackle with him, he's a phenomenal quarterback. Definitely a leader, great guy, and nothing has changed in the. I want to say, God, we're 2025. I've known Kevin. This is gonna age me a little bit, and him. I've known Kevin since 2001. Yeah, my
Okay.
first year playing junior ball. Yeah, I'm kind of old. Yeah, so it's been a while. Anyways, yeah, he's been like the pinnacle of excellence and the standard of excellence, I should say, in FPF. But you talked about the INTs, yeah, 9 TDs, 5 INTs, right? So I mean, it is a lot of interceptions, especially for him, right? For most quarterbacks, no. But I mean, this guy, again, Hall of Famer, 28-time All Star, 18 championships. He knows what he's doing with the ball. Looking at it now, right? He's over his last couple of seasons, right? The 5 INTs, it would be his highest since actually just past fall season. He threw six, and don't forget, so he didn't play. I don't think he missed the season due to injury.
Yeah, I believe it was his arm.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
something in his arm. I think it was his forearm, something possibly elbow. So he missed the season. So in terms of like winter ball, right? I mean, I'm looking at it right here. He played last winter with the All Stars. 48 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions the whole season. But he definitely took some time off, right? He didn't play in the spring season of 2023. He didn't play. Yeah, he didn't play in the spring of 2024 as well. Yeah, so yeah, spring of 2024 he took off, right? So this is he got kind of the rust off in the Fall Cup. He played 6 games in the Fall Cup, but this is his first real action since coming back for the injury, at least in this winter, right? Because he's throwing for, I'm looking at it here, obviously for the All Stars, he's throwing as well. Throwing for Dominoes, and also he's throwing a bit for Vengeance. And the interceptions over the 3 teams that he's playing for right now, right, in Division 3, he's throwing about 12 INTs actually right now. So that's for him, that's a lot, right? And that's over three
That's
teams.
that's crazy. To be honest, with you.
Yeah.
That's for him. That's 12 lines. Even if you're playing on 3 teams, it's way too much.
What I said, right? I mean, I'm looking at his stats. He's only had double-digit interceptions, I think, 3 times in his entire career. And this is a guy, mind you, who started playing. It says here winter 2009. I'm not sure how accurate that is because I know he played. Actually, no, I think it is accurate. I remember. So Montreal's Finest, right? Team from back in the day. It wasn't Kevin Wyatt's team actually. That was Mo Khan's team. Mo Khan had started Montreal's Finest. I was actually on. So there was me, Keyshawn Thompson, as you know, Key, right? So it was me, Key, and like a couple of the guys we played tackle with to start of that team. So Kevin came, I think, the second or third year of Montreal's Finest. He took over at quarterback, and again, like I said, since 2009, he's throwing double-digit interceptions like twice. So that's pretty impressive. So as you talked about, right, to your point, The interception total right now, this early in the season, is a little concerning, but I think he's the type of dude that he'll be able to kind of strain himself out and get back to being the Kevin Wyeth that we all know,
Yeah,
ideally.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you will. Also, Bless right now is 0-3. Uh,
Yeah.
not the best start for them. I'm not too much surprised because with the new rules for the 6v6, how now you have to kind of pass midfield to get a first down.
Yeah.
And we all know, if well, people that don't know, Blessed football is more well, usually they usually go for 10 yards to get a first down. So now the fact they have to go midfield, it's extra
Yeah.
15 yards. So it kind of changes their game plan. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's something that they're going to struggle on at the beginning. But still, 0-3 is not the best start. It's something where you don't want to really start like that. But still, it's a bit surprising. Maybe you figured maybe they'll get a win here and there, but it's still early on the season. But that's also something.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Stephen Harper saw it right there, led by him. He's the captain. Quarterback, 15 TDs, 4 INTs. He's completing 70% of his passes. But I want to ask you a little about Bless, right? So this is a team. Listen, I've played with Stephen. I won a championship with Stephen Harper. So great guy, a solid quarterback. You look at his weapons. He has Marvin Steinberg, right? Will Power, obviously. Hensley Adams, Andrew Grant, Carl Aki, his buddy James Langshaw, right? Lauren Foucault, Michael Kazaka. They're not lacking for weapons. It's just I could be wrong, but every time I see Blessed, not to put anything against any of their players, they're all way better than me. But I think that it's they had to feel like a Division 2 team who, because of all the high rankings, included for Stephen Harper, so as 86 at quarterback, and everybody else on the roster, they have to play Division 1. Because I remember when you're in Division 2, they're always competing for championships, and since they made the transition to Division 1, they haven't been a doormat, but they're definitely not one of the top teams who you consider would be a championship contender. Am I wrong to think that?
No, no, you're absolutely right. As you know, like Division 2 and Division 1 is also it's almost the same, but usually it's the quarterback that uses changes. So to go to Division 2 and to drop in Division 1, the competition is it's you end up playing a bit harder teams, like a
Yeah,
bit, like quarterback wise. So teams are going to score way more points than they usually
yeah,
do. So for them, like transition is it's a change, but and also their roster is it's well based, but they are all like if you they're always going to be at the bottom of the tier teams. So it's something
yeah.
where they're going to have to kind of just get over with.
Hmm.
But that's something that they'll have to work on.
So do you see? I mean, we look at the standings, right? Again, 6 teams in the playoffs, one team doesn't make it right now. That is Blessed at 0-3, right? It's not a huge hole. They played 3 games. All the teams in front of them have played. Uh, we're looking at points wise, like run it one. Well, you guys run it once, right? You're 1-2. All Stars are 1-2. Flagmont Sack is 1-1, right? So they're within striking distance of at least those 3 teams. Do you think that Bless could kind of make that push? 'Cause you talked about they can get some wins here and there, but I'm wondering like where do you think those wins will be looking at their schedule?
So look, I'm looking at their schedule right now. They have Braves. I don't think they're going to win that game. Party Crashers, that's a winnable game. Flagmole Sack, I don't think they're going to win that game. Braves, I don't think they're going to win that game. They play Royal. That could be winnable. Then they play All Stars back to back at the end of the season.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah,
that's going to be depends on what kind of Kevin Wyeth you get at this point. Because if he's going to throw 2 interceptions a game, I mean, usually when you're a quarterback, if you throw 2 interceptions, you could get a win from that. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think in their schedule, they probably could win the next maybe 3 games, maybe 4, I would say. So they could finish
Okay.
the season 4-6. It's so I mean it's not too bad. 4-6 will get them in the playoffs. If
Yeah,
they go
for sure.
2-8, I don't think they'll be able to squeeze in. So it's coming down to. I mean, I just don't see them being the Braves. I think their next biggest game is going to be February 12th versus Party Crashers. I think that's going to
Right.
be the turning point. I think if they win that game, I think they go 0-4. They lose versus the Braves. They play Party Crashers right after. I think if they win that game, that's going to be the turning point for them. If they lose that game, they go 0-5. Then they play a good Flagmall Sack team. That's a hard game for them. It's going to be, and then they play Braves again. So if they end up dropping Party Crashers, Flagmall Sack, and Braves, they're 0-7, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard to climb out of that.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so let's hit on the party crashes quickly for a second. I mean, we look at them right now. They're in first in the division, right? They're sitting at 3-2. So I mean, the record isn't like amazing, but again, they're in first place, so you can't take that away from them. They're coming off of a big win over actually, well, last night over the All Stars, 30-19 down in Brassard. You had a chance to play them in week one, right? They beat you guys 25-6. I mean, that's all the way back on January 5th, so almost a month ago. But what do you, out of that game, what do you remember, or what's your opinion right now of the Party Crashers, and can they maintain their first place standing?
So I didn't play them on the January 5th, but I did play them on January 26th. So we played the
Yeah, yeah.
run it twice. We played them twice. First time, from what I heard from my teammates, they just didn't play well. And the second time, kind of same situation. We didn't play that well, but they played a good game. They kind of are. They're doing the switch. They had Jean Slee at quarterback, and then sometimes they
Hmm.
have Fred Spree at quarterback. So they're kind of doing. Sometimes he's there. Sometimes Jean Slee is there. They're kind of doing that switch. That might bite them at the end of the season,
Yeah.
towards like chemistry and stuff. But they're a bunch of guys that do play each other. They do play with each other for it's been a couple seasons now. So I think right now they're at a good pace, 3-2, as we said. They lost versus the Braves and they lost versus All Stars, but then they got back the revenge on All Stars. So right
Yeah.
now they
Yeah.
have, and they also get the tie break from All Stars if for some reason they both finish the same thing because they beat them by more points against after. So they have the tie break
Yeah.
on them. So, but no, they're a solid group of guys. A lot of guys ex CFL players, ex university players. So they
Yeah.
have a lot of talent on that team. They're a team that if you end up playing a bad game, you're gonna lose. They will blow you out, as we did. I think we were playing okay, and then all of a sudden the game just kind of turned, and we lost 44-18. So
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
we just literally 20 they gave us we lost by 26 points, and so it just goes to show if you guys end up if you don't come with your A game, you're gonna get blown out.
Right. Right. So, it's the question I want to ask you, because I've written for Division One in the past, right? So a team like Party Crashers, again, we talked about the talent on their team, right? A lot of former, like some CFL guys, some university guys, collegiate guys. They have, I think, the whole Alexi family, from Jean Lee to Jonathan. All the Alexis are there. Frankie Hogue is there. Obviously, Fred Dupuis. They're not lacking talent, like you said, right? Um, just with these guys, I feel like they get to these big moments in the postseason, and I've seen them again from covering this division. It's not me talking like this random speech here. They kind of get to these big moments and they'll make a mistake, and it's either a bad INT or blown coverage, and it feels like they kind of just melt after that. Like one or two big mistakes turn into like a molehill, and it's just like they can't recover. So I'm wondering, maybe this is the year. Again, they're leading Division One, the top division. Could this be the year maybe that they finally kind of get out of their own way and really make that push? Because again, look at the roster; they're talented enough to win a championship, but it's just that I think the mental hurdle is something they need to get over. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they can this year.
Yeah, so one thing you do realize about them, so if you look at the roster going up and down, all these big names, I think Fred Dupree has one championship. Jean Slee has two. I think those are the two out of the two guys, and those. I think those are the only guys that have championships. Maybe his brother also has two as well from co-ed with the IG team. But so
Yeah, yeah,
they don't have championship experience. So I think that's also one thing that's a issue for them. So I think when they get into the playoffs, they don't have as much experience when it comes to the second round and the third round. Like, yeah, maybe they win the first round going into the playoffs, but it comes the second round, there's something that happens. A bad interception, and then one guy or bad blown coverage, or just something that bad happens, and I think it becomes it's a lot of hotheads too around that team. A lot of guys that that feel like they could do more, you know. So if some guy
right,
screws
right,
up,
right.
next guy up, you know, like. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, like sometimes you knew that, but sometimes it'll break a team. You can make a team, you can break a team, and I think in the past couple of years, I think it kind of broke them.
Okay, that's fair.
Rather
That's fair.
than fixing them. A question I have for you, other than because everyone knows that the Braves are pretty much the most dominant team right now.
Yeah.
Other than the Braves, and let's just take away All Stars, who do you think would be the other top contender to win the championship this year?
I'm looking at Royal Luminaire. I mean, yeah, they're 2-0, and they've had championship experience recently. I mean, you have AJ Gomes on the team. Obviously, they're led by Jesse Dupuis. They got Jalen Greaves, so a former Connu. I think does he still play for Connu? I gotta check that.
No, he
But
does not. No, not
okay,
anymore.
so anyways, former Connu receiver. Obviously, Marc Antoine Lapointe. I mean, great player. You hate to play against him, but I've had him on my team once. He's a great player. He's clutch both sides of the ball. They got the young kid there, Xavier Couture, playing collegiate ball right now. Obviously he's a member of the league as well, member of our scorekeeping staff. He's a clutch player. Ethan Adrian, he's a rusher. He's actually a good receiver too, but he's a really good rusher. I know you played
Yeah,
with him on the infantry, right?
yeah. I would say
this
right
past
now
fall.
Ethan's a top three rusher right now.
Yeah, and all FPF, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
I would give him top three.
I may not even put him at three to be honest with you. Like he's that good.
Yeah, no,
Um,
he's a solid guy to have.
Yeah, Alexi Gomon, seeing guys with experience, Anthony Lapointe, guys that have played with Jesse Dupree in the past. I know looking at the roster, so Emile Baudouin, he's one of those guys that you line up on the field whether it's flag or tackle, specifically in flag where you have no equipment. And you look at him, you're like, this guy's really that good? I don't know. And then you get onto the field and he smokes you. So he hasn't played any games yet, but Emile Baudouin, I can tell you, playing like back with the Alpha T's and all the other
Yeah, no,
generations.
he's a
Yeah,
solid player as well.
he's solid. Darren Wilshire as well, right? He's another guy that has a lot of skill, right? Sam Lapierre too is another guy who's come in the last couple of years and made some noise. So if these guys can finally get some games played, I really like their chances of making a run because they're a championship team and they're a deep and veteran team. They know what to do once they get to the championship game.
Yeah, also Jesse. Jesse has 7 championships, so he
Yeah,
kind of knows what it takes to get over that hump. Gonna get over those games that when it comes down to the last drive, he's able to
exactly.
punch it in and get into the next round, or punch it in and actually win a championship. So I'd also agree. They're right now they're 2-0 as well, so they're starting the season off pretty well. Good start.
Yeah.
So I would give it
I'm,
to
I'm
them.
I'm also looking at so Flagmont Sack again. Speaking of veteran teams with some championship experience, obviously led by Alex Nando Puis, one of the top quarterbacks in this league. Obviously, him working in tandem with his brother Sam Nando Puis. So that there's not too many better quarterback receiver combinations than those two. But they have Quaid on the team, right? Quaid Johnson, another guys like Guillaume Paquet, Guillaume Robert. Obviously, Pat Chenard. So they have a lot of firepower, and they're definitely a team. Again, they're a veteran squad that knows how to win in the playoffs. I look at their offense. I mean, they knocked off Bless 57-47. I mean, 47 is a lot of points to give up, but they almost put up a 60 burger on the team, right? Their next game is tonight. Well, they're playing you guys, right? Tonight at the Stinger Dome. So that should be a good game. Looking forward to checking out between you guys and Running One. So what do you think you guys are going to have to do to get the W tonight?
We're gonna have to make some we're gonna have to make some defensive stops because their offense, as you said, they have a lot of names. They have a lot of guys that played uni football that I actually played against.
Mhm.
They have a lot of ballers. They have their quarterback Alex. He knows how to sling a ball. He knows how to get the ball to his main receiver, especially his brother. They have a lot of good chemistry, a lot of timing routes that you just before as me as a defender, like sometimes he makes these throws. I'm just like he throws the ball before his brother or even any some of his receivers I even break off the route. So that's
Mhm.
something hard to defend. And they score points, as you can see. Like they didn't score that many against Royal in week one, but again, it's week one. Sometimes you have those, you just have to brush it off. And then week two, they dropped 57 on Blessed, and 50.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are. If you score 57 points, Division One, Division Two, Division Three, Division Four, Division Six, whatever. And Bless is still they're guys that compete. 57
yeah,
points is a lot of points to score.
exactly,
So
exactly.
as us, we just have to make defensive stops. The offense is going to score, we know that for sure. But on defense, we're going to have to make some stops if we're going to want to win this game.
Okay, and I'll ask you for Division One. So obviously we talked about the Braves being the best team in FPF. Do you think the Braves make the championship, or do you take the field, or you know what? I'll ask you. Actually, is it gonna be a little motivation for you guys? Braves versus All Stars, or are you saying it's gonna be someone else from the 7 teams that make the finals?
Well, I'm not going to go against my team. So I, I
I
would.
wanted to make sure.
No, I'm not that guy. Like I'm also a guy. Like I'm an underdog, right? Like
Mhm.
I love to see an underdog story. So like I'm not gonna say not my team, it's my squad. It's my first year playing with Jeff, so I would like if I could somehow win him a championship, I would love to do that, especially for the guys that don't have a championship. But I'm not sure who doesn't have a championship on our roster yet, but I'd love to see that. But I would say the Braves. I can't. I have to give them the respect. They've done a lot in the last few years that they've been in FPF now. So I would say I would give run it once, run it twice versus the Braves in the finals.
Okay, cool.
Actually, I have a quick question for you, right? So right now they have we have a debate, right? Kevin Wyeth or Jonathan Meyer, right? Everyone's kind of saying who's but I feel like since we've been around a bit longer in FPF, right? So I feel like you have the old school guys that kind of say, yeah, Kevin Wyeth's the GOAT, right? But then you have the new school kids on the block are kind of saying, no, Joe Meyer he's the real deal, whatever. So you have that back and forth, right? And I'm not talking about Kevin Wyeth and the All-Stars. I'm talking about Kevin Wyeth and Montreal Finest, like those days, But even though like right now Kevin Wyeth is still making Kevin Wyeth answers. So if I give you basically the situation is, you guys are down by 5 points. There's a minute left pro clock. Okay, we'll go with the new rules now. Minute left pro clock. So you have either Joe Meyer to bring you down the field and to win the game, or you have Kevin Wyeth. Who are you picking?
Okay, so interesting question. I was asked this on the old podcast, I think about 2 years ago, when I was writing for Division One.
Okay.
And I felt like I was a traitor, but I went with Joe. I went with Joe Mahu. I went with him, and then I think I went with either Isaiah or somebody's the best rusher. So as soon as because I was calling that game, I was calling that finals game. So as soon as I got there, Matt Kerwak, solid dude, and Kevin, they're like, all right, we're gonna show you. And they proceeded to end up going on and winning the championship and shutting my mouth.
Okay.
But you say, so with the pro rules and all that, and with the pro clock and that, I could be wrong, but I think Joe plays in more tournaments than Kevin. I could be wrong about that, but I think
he does. He does have the experience, but also the reason why I said 1 minute because Kevin Wyeth also understands timing, right? He understands five plays. He's one guy that you give Kevin Wyeth 5 plays, he'll torch you for it, right? You want to give him maybe 3 at best. If you could waste some plays, you waste plays, right? That's why I said a minute because like. It's football. You kind of understand the minute system, right? You have a minute to score, out of bounds. Right. So that's why I said kind of didn't say 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I kind of said a minute.
Right.
But
okay, I'm gonna so to answer your question, I'm gonna pick Kevin specifically because of what you mentioned. I remember in Lachine, I think the year they were closing, there was a game there. I was ready for Div 1, and Kevin, this guy's the master of let the other team score. This is a concept, especially for you guys in the younger divisions. This is a concept that is foreign to a lot of people. Letting your opponent score so you can get the ball back at a certain number of plays. And he told me on the sideline, I need like 3 plays, honestly. He goes 2, 3 tops. And he went, I can't remember who they were playing, and he went out and he marched the field, and I think he had 2 plays left, and he cut the field in half on first down. And last play of the game, he threw a bullet to the end zone. I think Pat caught it, ended the game. So yeah, minute left with my life on the line. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kevin.
Okay.
Who would you go with?
I would also go with Kevin, just because the only reason why I'm saying this, and I just feel like Kevin doesn't have any emotion. And what I mean by that, like, there's no nerves. Like, I played versus Joe. I played versus Kevin. I feel like I could get under Joe's skin a bit more, talk shit, talk that smack. Like, don't throw the ball to this side, like try to get up his nerve. Kevin, I talk to Kevin, he just smiles right back at me. It's like who am I trying to play here? So I feel like that's my opinion.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I think that wraps it up for Division 1.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Yeah, let's go to Co-Ed 3.
Yeah.
Co-Ed 3. Open it here.
Yeah, so looking at Co-Ed 3 right now, it's looking at the standings and that. Excuse me. So yeah, there's 16 teams. 16 teams, 12 make the playoffs. I've watched some of these teams so far this season. A lot of decent names as well. Gold Diggers 0-4, whatever. That is what it is. But Gold Diggers, that's not bad. I don't mind that. Dream Killers, Balls and TDs, Vicious and Delicious. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing up and down. You have your undefeated teams, and then you have your
Yeah,
winless teams at the top. So you have gold, as you said, Gold Diggers, Montreal Dragons, Vultures, which we know with Ben and Phil Roberts.
yep, yep.
He's part of that, and then we have Ghosted. That's 1 and 3. So we also have a couple new teams that I've never seen. I believe Anything is a new team. Pick Artist is a new team. I think Tight Ends are a new team. I think I've seen Thunder Villains before. I think it's like half new teams, half non-new teams. So it's always nice to see,
Right, right.
especially for co-ed. It's becoming a thing. A lot of as we see right now, we have 3 divisions, right? Co-ed
Yeah,
3, 2,
that's
and
it. Yeah,
1.
yeah.
So I think there's a 14 teams in co-ed 1, co-ed 2. I'm not exactly sure, and at co-ed 3 you have the 16. So it's starting to be a big thing. A lot of people are starting to enjoy it. A lot of people are starting to sign up for it. So it's always nice. Um, so let's just go down to let's start at the beginning at the bottom. The bottom 3 teams. So we have 1 and 3, 0 and 3, 0 and 3, and 0 and 4. Let's start with let's talk about Gold Diggers. I've seen them. I actually watched them play last week when I was scorekeeping in Brossard. They
Okay.
were in the mid. They were in the midfield. I was on the third field. I was kind of just peeking at them. They look like a team that they're kind of a bunch of friends that kind of just made a team up.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't have that much experience, so that's the reason why they're 0-4. 62 points scored, 145 points against. But they're trying. I talked to a couple of their players on the sideline, I actually asked, I'm like, is this co-ed 3? And they kind of said, yeah, like, can you tell? And I just kind of turned around. I didn't really want to I didn't want to say anything like mean or anything like that,
Right, right, right.
yeah, they seem like, to be honest, I don't think they're gonna get a win this year. Just looking how they play and how their roster is, but yeah, I think they're gonna go 0-10. They have a I don't even know his name, but they had a receiver that pretty much was doing pretty much everything for them. Um, I believe it was Nico. I think his name is Nico. Yeah. Right now he has 23 targets, 15 catches, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's
Wow.
kind of been
Okay.
doing a lot. Yeah, he's kind of been their guy. But yeah, I don't. To be honest, I think they're gonna go 0-3, 0-10 this year. That's one team that I
Okay.
kind of was looking at. That was kind of what I saw. Has anyone other yeah? So Owen, I don't think they're gonna. To be honest, I don't think at the bottom teams. I don't think any other teams are gonna end up winning a game. Same thing with Montreal Dragons. I actually watched them play too. I don't think they're gonna win unless Dragons play Gold Diggers. Then they'll get that win. But that's the only thing that I don't think they're gonna get any wins other than that.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen the Gold Diggers play as well. I think week 1, I scored, kept their game on Laval. Sorry, week 2, sorry, against Hot Wings. Okay, I'll tell you quickly. Hot Wings is a hilarious team. It's like I think it's a bunch of family members. I know there's a kid on the team, one of the receivers. I can't remember his name right now. I think it was his dad, his mom on the team. I think there's like a brother on the team. There's I think another set of brothers. I think there's some girlfriends on the team as well. Like they're a deep team. They had enough for like an offense, special teams, and a defense. Like it was that many people.
Oh
'Cause I
wow.
remember, yeah, I remember seeing them in the fall season, getting a look at them for the first time. Are they the most talented team? No, but they have a lot of fun out there. And then I got to score keep the game this year, and they got the W. They knocked off. Gold Diggers 40-18. I was shocked. Like this team scoring 40 points didn't seem like maybe in a dream or maybe in Madden or something. They created themselves. I thought maybe they could
Mm,
score 40 points, but they put up 40, and they're not bad. I mean, yeah, right now the record's not the greatest, just sitting at 1-3. But again, listen, at least they got off the schneid. They got that one win. I've been winless in this league. My first year in the league, I put in a team and we went 0-8-2. So I can tell you that lonely feeling from going winless is never something you want to experience. So congrats to
no,
them.
for sure.
Yeah, Gold Diggers, like you said. So Gold Diggers, sorry, that was my thing. They is pretty much yeah one receiver doing the majority of the work. They have talent actually. Gold Diggers, I will tell you, they're lacking a quarterback. Not to be disrespectful to who they have, Tristan Pelche and Oscar Escobar. They're athletic guys that try, but it's just they're lacking the quarterback who can make the simple throws, and they end up just chucking the ball downfield and hoping for the best, and that's not really a recipe for success. You have the
No,
yeah, it's pretty much Markins, Theodore, and Nico Adamides doing all the damage at receiver, and
mhm.
yeah, it's not yeah, it's that's not a recipe for
No,
success.
yeah, exactly. But they're gonna learn as they see. They
Yeah,
like they're also a deep roster too. They were like
yeah,
I think
yeah.
they were like about 12 or 13. So there were a lot of players on that team. So they're gonna learn. Hopefully they kind of fix their QB situation. They get a win or two. I'm hoping they do because as you said, not winning any games. Not winning any games is it's not as fun unless you're having fun while losing. I mean, there's always that. But going back into it, Vultures 0-3, veteran team.
Yeah.
There's a couple girls I have on my co-ed 3 team on this with Emma, Gigi,
Hmm. Hmm.
well Emma and Gigi. Um, are you surprised about this that they're 0-3 right now?
I'm very surprised. I mean, listen, this is a team. Okay, so you have Ben, you have Phil, right? These guys like best friends. They play together all the time. Emma, great receiver, great person as well. I got a chance to get to know her a little bit now. She's a scorekeeper. Gigi, I've covered her from like McGill basketball, and until now she's obviously in FPF, and she's dominant. She's the type of player I think in the next couple of years she should either be on Sub Zero if she's not on like or maybe even this season maybe they should bring her up or something because like she's a phenomenal athlete, good person too. She's another scorekeeper, well, new scorekeeper with us. There's my point is saying that, and they play together right with Red Nation. My whole thing is saying that is there's continuity there, right? There are a couple of rookies on the roster looking at it right now. Raphael Peltier, Magali Delan, Annick Ladouceur, but and as well as Emerick Leclerc. And all that to say, there's talent on this team, and they have Felix Clermont. So I don't know if you know Felix Clermont. He plays usually in Div 2. This guy's a stud. He's one of those guys. Was that Ben found him at the free agent tryout, and he's playing with some friends in Div 6, and he tore it up
Okay.
last year so I wrote for uh, Div B, I think, believe in the Fall Cup, and yeah, he was just phenomenal player.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know who he is. I've seen him
Yeah,
around now.
anyways, he can ball. So I'm surprised with the roster that they have that they're 0-4, like they're 0-3 right now. A lot of that's defense, right? They're giving up eight. A lot of that's actually the offense. In 3 games, they've scored a total of 39 points, right? That's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
That's
As
really
you
more than a game.
Yeah, I think as you the quarterback, I have it up here. I think she's thrown 6 touchdowns and 13 INTs.
Yeah, Magali Delan. That's
Yeah,
yeah, they cut
so
down on the INTs.
yeah, so I believe she's a quarterback from St. Anne. She's
Okay.
played there. That's where she played, and she was also at the free agency, and I believe Ben she wanted to make a team and something didn't work out, and then Ben kind of said, "Oh, we can make a team," so they got a team around us. They ended
Yeah.
up making a team as her as quarterback. I talked to Ben. I kind of asked him like, "Oh, so what's going on like during your season?" He
Yep.
kind of just
Yep.
says the quarterback kind of has to understand the game's a bit faster, right? So when you're playing women's, right, especially St. Anne, I don't think they're in the best division when it comes to flag. Then they play like a
Right.
certain amount of teams like around that division. I don't think they play versus like the powerhouse teams and stuff for CJEP. So also think when you get into an environment when you're playing co-ed, even though you're playing co-ed 3, sometimes you can see some amazing athletes that play co-ed 3. The game is so much faster, so you don't have those hooks, you don't have those crosses, you don't have those
Exactly.
comebacks. A lot of those times when that window is open and you think you get the ball in there, it becomes a pick. It becomes
Yeah.
interception because the game is so much faster. So I think that's something that she's going to have to adapt. Again, they're only 3 games in. She has a good core around her. So I feel like if she's able to fix those mistakes and kind of realize that I don't have that same privilege of being able to throw those 5 yard comebacks or those 10 yard comebacks the way I take my time to progress and kind of make that read, and she has to realize like it's not going to be as open. I think if she fixes that, changes her interception um, per game. I think she's thrown 4 interceptions per game, 4 or 5, like four or
Yeah.
five
Yeah. Yeah.
around those lines. So if she could cut that down to 2, I think they could start winning some games.
So no, 100%. I mean, again, she has to get her feet. She has to get comfortable, right? Her feet are getting wet right now. She needs to get comfortable and kind of find her rhythm, and maybe stay out of her own head during the game. You know, so I want to go from one team to surprise me to another. I'm looking at pick artists right here. Pick artists are 2-1. They're an all rookie team. I think there's one player, Hendricks Gojon, who has experience in FPF. The roster is lengthy. I'm counting right here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 14 players. So 13 of the 14 are rookies. And they're sitting at 2-1. I mean, their record's not bad. They fell to Vicious and Delicious in week one, but since then they knocked off the Montreal Dragons at the Stinger Dome 2 weeks ago, and then last week they put up 37 on the Flamingos in a 37-26 victory. So I'm surprised. Again, we talked about rookies and getting their feet wet and that. Usually you see when it's a team, even in the lower divisions, when it's a team that has almost no FPF experience, it takes them a while to find their footing. But credit to the pick artists. I mean, they're sitting at 2-1 with a couple of like blow up victories as well. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so something that's funny about the pick artists, I actually know them personally, like
Okay.
some of their players, because they played for. I coached at Greenfield for the midget team, so you
Okay.
have a couple guys that played for that team. Also, we had guys that played for Collège de Rocher in Saint Lambert that I also
Okay.
coached too. So they went from Collège de Rocher to Greenfield, and now they're playing flag.
Okay.
And a lot of their females actually play for Saint Anne as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
So they are a rookie team, but they do have a bit of football and flag experience.
Right.
So
Right.
that's also something like their quarterback Jacob's actually the starting quarterback at Greenfield. So,
Okay.
and I believe he also played a bit of flag too in high school. So
Okay. Okay. Nice.
yeah, so a new team, but a lot of good athletes. Sometimes you can't really see that, right? Because you see a lot of these guys at 55 ratings. So when they
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
in, okay like that, but then you start to understand names and stuff like that. So yeah, that's also something to see. So the team, the four and zero, you have anything, right? Anything in balls TD, balls and TD. Well,
Yeah.
um, so I haven't seen these teams play yet. It seems like they're pretty two solid teams. They're both 3-0, 4-0, respectfully.
Yeah.
They allowed right now I'm on balls and TDs. They allowed 38 points. They scored 95, so they're allowing about 13 points per game, which is pretty
Yeah.
much two touchdowns, which is pretty good. They play each other week 10. Do you think they're both going to go 9-0 and it's going to be a battle of undefeated season, or do you think one of them are going to drop before they end up playing versus each other?
So I think looking right now at anything again, respect to what they've done offensively, they're putting up a ton of points with the exception of their week three win over Thunder Villains. Yes, yeah, 15-14 win over Thunder Villains in week three. Other than that, they've scored 46, 39, and 38 in their other three games. I think they're not going to go undefeated. I think they might lose before that. I'm looking at B and G's right now. I think that's going to be an upset loss for anything there. Because I looked at B. I've seen B and G's before. This is a team I've seen in multiple years actually. This is a team. They have some firepower. They're led. So the quarterback there. Yeah, it's Athena Ryan. I've seen her play. She has a pretty big arm actually. She can air it out.
Yeah,
They
she
have
was a very good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And they have weapons. Israel Yav is a leading receiver, but they have some other weapons as well. Obed area. There's there's continuity on this team. I think it's a team now that's Ben and Ash have been playing together for a number of seasons, and they definitely have athleticism and some size on their side. So I'm gonna go with B and G's to knock off anything. In terms of the other team you're talking about here going undefeated, so when I look at the remaining schedule, so I'm just waiting for it to load here on my screen. The remaining schedule for balls and TDs here. Again, I like what they've done, especially defensively. They're only giving up 38 points in three games. Yeah, I've seen this team play before. There's some pretty talented players on this team. I'm gonna say, looking at the schedule though, I'm gonna say actually they're gonna lose their next game and get Kiss My A's. Kiss My A's team led by
Okay,
obviously Erica
that's
Dubois. Yeah,
It's
that's
11
the
o'clock.
yeah. I think I think Kiss My Ace is gonna knock them off. So I think they're gonna be 3-1 after they're off this week, so they have to bye this week. But actually, they have to
Mhm.
bye. Wow, their last game was January 20th. Their next game is February 15th. So that's 2 more weeks from
Yeah,
now. So that's like almost that's almost like a whole month off, right? That's a long time for a
yeah.
team to be off. And even if it wasn't, even if they were playing, even if they had played this week or whatever, I would still say Kiss My A's, another veteran squad with some firepower. I think they're gonna knock off balls and TDs.
Okay, so there's Texas. So you're basically saying there's going to be no undefeated
Yeah, no
teams.
undefeated teams now.
All right.
Mark
Okay.
it down.
Do you see? Yeah. Do you see any teams making a jump, or do you think right now it's going to stay around the same thing? So you have the top five team, like you have the
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
balls
yeah,
and T's, dream killers, kiss my A's, and
yeah,
pick artists, right? So you have
yeah.
the top five teams going up. Do you think like Thunder Villains, tight ends, um, Flamingos. You think any of those teams have a chance to take the number one spot, or are they gonna stay in the middle of the pack?
I think the Flamingos kind of. I've seen them play before. This is a team. They have some firepower, both male and female on their squad. I've score kept a number of these ladies, especially that are playing throughout the years. Yeah, Jean Sebastien Sid, I don't know. I've seen him play. He's a player. I believe actually he's the best player on their team. Mathilde Lavigne, I believe I've seen her play before. Yeah, so there's a couple of players on this team who I've score kept over the last couple of seasons doing women's and doing co-ed games as a scorekeeper. And yeah, they have some firepower. Oh yeah, Angelique Martin as well. Yeah, I think they're gonna be able to make that push. They could be definitely a dark horse team to make that push to the finals. If I'm gonna have to pick one team here, I'm gonna go with yeah Flamingos.
All right, so Flamingos, 2025 Winter Co-ed 3 champions.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so
I
let's.
don't know. I don't know if I want to say they're gonna be the champions. I say they can make a championship run. I don't want to crown them just yet. It's a little early, but I mean, you never listen. If Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic could be traded, anything could happen. Right? Maybe the Flamingos win the championship. You never know.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, let's go to Co-ed 2. Jump over there.
All right, so yeah, we look at co-ed 2 right now. Um, okay, just waiting for it to load up on my screen here. Okay, so we got 22 teams. So yeah, it's a lot of teams. 22
Yeah,
teams, 16 make the playoffs. Yeah, a lot of teams I recognize here. Ball Hard University, McNuggies I've seen. No pads, no helmets, just balls. I love that name. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah,
yeah, a
Chief
lot of
Bandits I've
people.
seen. Who's going to carry the boats? Yeah, a lot of familiar teams in here. Michael Scott's Tots. Yeah, balls deep. Yeah, there's yeah, a lot of recognizable teams here. Okay, so let's look at this quickly then. I'm gonna pick a team right here, and oh, Nathan's back playing. Okay, sorry. I'm looking right here at this could be a team. I think again, it might be early to say dark horse team, but not even dark horse team. I'm gonna say team that's at the top, near the top of the standings. Michael Scott's Tots. It's a talented team. A lot of my buddies on the team, like Zach Elbers Gill. I think he's still in that conversation for top three, top five reps in the league. He's been doing it for a long time. Kenny Batoulier. This is a team I actually had a chance to throw around the ball with some of them this past summer, during the fall season, I should say. David Andrade, he's another guy. He's been in the league for a long time. Gabe Wiseman. So there's a lot of veteran, Jonathan Joseph, a lot of veteran talent on this team. Their team that could make a run for the championship. They have the talent too. Will they do it? We'll have to wait and see. Right now, looking at their record, they're 3-1. They're 3-1. They're looking good. That's a team. If they can not make mistakes, if they can protect the ball, that's the only thing that might kill them is turnovers. Because sometimes this is a team that might have a turnover or two at the wrong time. If they could avoid that, I think they could definitely be a championship contender. Again, a lot of veteran championship experience on their team. I'm looking also another team that's caught my eye right here is Venom. So Venom right now sits at 2-2. This is a team, yeah, another team with a lot of experience. Like they have some
Yeah,
playmakers on their team.
they
Yeah,
also
yeah, they
Venom
have
beat
Paul
Michael
Lafayette.
Scott. Venom beat Michael Scott Tots by
Yeah,
38 points.
yeah, they smoked him. Yeah, Yeah, Don
Um,
Shepard's on the team.
I actually score kept that game. To be honest with you, I'm
Okay,
just
so
thinking about it now. I did score kept that game. Michael Scott didn't play as good, but Venom just had too much. They had too much athletic power.
yeah,
They had.
yeah.
I believe there's that game. I think a guy had 5 interceptions. I could be wrong. I'm gonna double check, but I believe he had. Um, am I wrong? Oh, four interceptions. He had 4 interceptions. Adam Calendar.
Yeah. So yeah, Adam Calhoun 4 INTs. He had a
Yeah,
TD as a receiver too. That's a pretty impressive day. Yeah, so
yeah,
and that's what I'm saying before, right? Like David DeAndre, he's a solid quarterback. He's played in a lot of divisions, but he'll have these games sometimes where he'll throw some bad passes, and that's definitely one of them. I mean, listen, 5 INTs is 5 INTs. There's no sugarcoating that one. But again, yeah, they have a veteran quarterback. Speaking of veteran, right? Paul Lapierre. So Don Sterling's a dude. So I don't know how well you know him. I had a chance to talk to him the other night. He's been in the league for a long time. Hall of Famer. He was gone for a couple of years. He moved away, so now he's back. So he's in the league and he's still doing his thing, right? Yeah. So this is his first time back since winter 2020. Sorry, winter 2022. So he hasn't played in a while, but I had a chance to watch him in 35 plus the other night in Laval and Monday as well in Saint Laurent. He's still putting up great numbers. And him and Paul obviously have a lot of chemistry. They're about the same height too, so that's like
yeah.
a good combo.
He used to play for Montreal Finest, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was the snapper over there. Yeah, I remember. He's a good, reliable target.
Yeah,
Good,
but again,
reliable
yeah,
target.
Venom, like you said, a lot of athleticism on his team, and the thing about Paul, which is good, is like he coaches too, right? So like he knows you got to spread around the ball. The one thing I don't like, and a lot of people would play this from co-ed is like you get those players, and I like what FPF's done, where you have to make sure now there's 3 females on the field at all times, because we've seen it in the past, right? Where it used to be 2 females on the field, and they would just be on the field to be on the field. They wouldn't be
Yeah,
involved. They would maybe get one pass thrown into them a game, and that's a waste of time and a waste of money. And you know what? I'll be honest. A lot of these ladies can play. A lot of these ladies can play. So I'm really glad. Like now, it has to be 3 females on the field, and a lot of them, especially on a team like Venom, they're part of the game plan, right? They're
yeah,
part of things on offense and defense. Because I mean, it sucks when you're on a team and like you're paying and you're just that's all you're doing is just paying to
yeah.
play. I
You're
mean,
standing
yeah.
around. Yeah,
Yeah. So like I like to see those teams that are really involving the females because there's a lot of great female ball players here in FPF.
no, exactly. No, I made a big change. Also, the defense aspect, like you can't have 3 guys playing deep the whole way, right? Like if you call a
Yeah,
certain defense, if you call a 1-3-5, usually you make sure it's your 3 guys that play deep, right? Now you're kind
exactly.
of forced to tell the girl like, okay, you gotta play deep. You gotta get those jump balls. Sometimes you get a bad matchup, but she has to make a play down the field, you know. So it changes a lot of aspects of the game. Also, it helps the offense too, right? Like when you do have those, let's say when you do play a 3 cover deep, 3 guys going deep, whatever, and then you keep your females at the bottom, it opens up the field a bit wider for other offenses. So it's not like you have kind of just guys just running around. You have 4, and then the girls are kind of just, as you said, kind of standing around with the ball. They have to someone has to make a play, right? One of your females have to end up getting a ball,
Exactly.
making a play, or 2 of them. Like they're more, as you said before, as you said, everyone's involved. You know, like you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win your game by just throwing the ball to your guys. Your girls are gonna have to end up doing a lot of the work now. You know,
Yeah,
so
that's it.
it's
And that's how
something
it
that
should be. That's how it should be.
no, exactly. It's something as I said, I play Code One, so
Yeah.
it's a bit different, you know, like regarding 3 girls and 3 guys in field. But I enjoy it. I find it gets the girls more involved, and they as they should, you know, like right now, women football is becoming a huge thing, and they could ball. And a
Yeah,
lot of them catchy ball out, you know, so it's good to be able to see how they're able to play.
yeah, that's it. That's it. There's another team I wanted to ask you about. So I don't know if you had a chance to see them play yet. Yeah, Ball So Hard. Sorry, not Ball So Hard. It's just, pardon me, my bad. Ball Hard University. So a buddy of mine, I don't know if you know him, Laurent Charles. He's been in the league for a couple of seasons now. He's played Division 2 and Division 3, Division A, Tier 2. He's played all over the place. Usually he plays with, of course, now the name's escaping me. Never Overtime. Sorry, that's the team. That's his main team
Yeah,
that he plays on. But
yeah.
he runs, yeah, he runs Ball Hard. I believe with his girlfriend, he runs Ball Hard University. And this is a team who I always like to see them. So they got so speaking of players, right? Mac DeSource. So this is a dude, he can ball. I don't know if you had a chance to see him. This guy both sides of the ball, Mac can ball. And he's a guy like every time I'm watching a game, if he's playing, I always try to take a couple minutes just to see what he's doing. He's a good dude, and he's a playmaker. This is a team that's been together for a while. They have a lot of great players on both sides of the ball, female and male. There's a team that's a team also that has a lot of fun. The results may not always be what they want. At least the first couple seasons I started seeing them. Right now they're 1-2-1, but they're having fun, which is important, right? You're having fun. You're
Yeah.
learning. A lot of the females play big roles on the team too, which is important. Like Cindy Canwell plays Kara Fent Reuter. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. I've seen her play a lot. Sarah Desjardins, Tiffany Cipolloni, I hope. Anyways, my apologies if I'm not pronouncing that right. But again, this is a team who I like to watch. Like they have fun, they play hard, and again, the record isn't what they may want it to be, but it appears every time I see them, they get a little bit better. So that's the team I think maybe in the second half of the season. Right now, again, they're 1-2-1, but it's a team. There's no quit, so that's also important. And looking at their record right now, okay, they lost big the first 2 weeks of the season. Then they got a big W over Westy. Week 3 and week 4, they got a tie against Block Party, right? So now coming up, they got no pads, no helmets, just balls. They got LDN. So those are teams that right now I believe are below them in the standings. So they have a chance to kind of add to the win total. And I think if they could do that, they could start really getting some momentum towards the second half of the season.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it takes. You lose your first two, then you squeeze out a win week 3, and then week 4 you get a nice little tie. So it's you get the win, you get the first win, and then you get the tie. So it's still something that's gonna help moving forward. So that's something for sure that could happen. My team to look at is Team Rocket.
Okay.
So I score kept them last week, I believe. They won 25-8 versus Flag Force One. They believe it says on the schedule they played January 12th as well, but maybe the game got canceled or postponed. But I feel like this team is gonna. It's either they're gonna make it to the finals or they're gonna make a very deep push. I feel like they're gonna finish about 8-2, 8-2, 9-1 type of team. They have a bunch of. They have a pretty good core.
Mm-hmm.
As quarterback, they have Guillaume Bellon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so a former player that plays for the Braves. He also played for McGill.
Yep.
A great defensive back, great offensive mind. He's the quarterback there, and then they also have his sister
Yeah, Mary
that
Lou.
also plays. Yeah, Mary Lou.
Yeah.
She's coming back from injury, so I think she's it's like her first year back.
Yeah.
She's also at Laval right now playing women's football over there.
Yeah.
So they have that kind of that combo duo. They actually hit I think it was a post wheel. They scored a touchdown. They scored a touchdown on that, but they have a pretty solid core of group, and I think that's one team that's gonna be one of the top teams for co-ed too.
Yeah, there's
Just
another player. No, you're right. You're right. That's going to be a thing. They've only played one game so far. I mean, I think they played two. I believe that's actually. I know there's a problem with the Chateauguay field, and I think they were one of the teams who fell victim to the problem with the Chateauguay field, where games had to be rescheduled. So I think that's the January 12th game you're referring to. Vanessa Pierre is another player on that roster. I've scored kept a couple of her games randomly over the
yes,
last couple of years, and she could play. She could play. She's definitely a hard
yeah,
nosed player. That's not afraid to dive for balls and that, and yeah, she can definitely play. So it's, yeah, this is definitely a solid I guess addition, if you will, for that team. And yeah, you're right. This is a team I expect to make some noise. Again, they have to get a couple more games under the belt because they've only played one. But this is a team I definitely think can
yeah,
make some noise if they get to the postseason.
yeah. Right now they're under the radar because 1-0.
Yeah,
They haven't played any games, but that's
yeah,
they're one of the
yeah,
teams that I kind of when I saw them, I was like, okay, this team is going to be something to look out for.
definitely.
Uh, Daycare. So we have let's go back to the top 3 teams. We already talked about Michael Scott Tots. So Balls Deep, Daycare, and Tonics.
Yeah,
So you have these 3 teams at the top. I've never seen I haven't seen any of these. Oh, actually, no. Tonics actually is. It looks like it's it looks like they kind of blended their co-ed 1 and their co-ed 2 team. So their co-ed
Right.
1 team is what's their co-ed 1 team? They were actually in the finals last year. Fit Squad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right, right. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah,
It seems like they blended their fit squad. They kind of add. They probably dropped some players,
right.
add some players. So they're 4-0. They went to the finals last year for FPF Cup. They end up
Yep.
they lost. I think they lost versus Kiss My End Zone or Kiss My. I'm not sure exactly what the
Yeah.
team was called, but they
One
keep
of the kids
switching it up.
teams. Yeah.
Yeah, they lost versus them. So I think this, as I see it now, I think this is one team that's they're a very solid group.
Too deep.
They
Yeah.
have a lot of veteran experience, a lot of good players. They kind of know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win games.
Yep.
So for me, I think this is one of the teams that are going to probably go undefeated. Actually, I don't think they're. They do play Team Rocket. They play Team Rocket on February 17th. So that's going to be
Yeah.
that's
So
going to
next
be a
week.
very
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be a very good challenge for them. But I believe if they could win that game, I think they do have an undefeated season. And then they have daycare too. I'm not exactly sure who's on daycare, but okay, yeah, daycare is also a very solid team as well too. Actually, I believe daycare is a team where they have siblings
Yeah, the
as
Gomos.
well. So
Yeah, Catherine and Alessi Gomo.
yeah, yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna take back what I said about the undefeated season, but uh, they have two big good games that
Yeah.
they're gonna play, but a very solid veteran team right there. Same thing else with daycare too, a very solid veteran team. They have the Gomals that play on the team. They have a lot of young kids too that actually play for
Yeah.
the U18 5v5. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's Justin and Michael. I think they're both players that play for the U18. So they have a lot of young talent,
Mm-hmm.
fresh legs that could probably take a hook to the end zone. So it's kind of something nice to always have. So that's also one team to. Those are two teams to look at. And then I think the last team I was saying was Balls Deep as well.
Yes, balls
Um,
deep. I'd throw another team at you here, McNuggies. I've seen them play a lot. They're led by Médéric Lauzon. He's like a coach, I believe in the collegiate ranks,
yeah,
and he's a player. I like watching him play, man. Like he's kind of like a bowling ball. He's tough as nails, and he'll try to go through the wall literally to try and make a play for his team. Sheldon Valeri is another player. I don't want to say underrated anymore. He's kind of popping up on the radar on a lot of different teams. He's a playmaker. Daryl Dorsley as well. This is a team that's been together for a little while now. They got some playmakers on both sides of the ball. I think that's a team that could definitely make some magic happen once they reach the postseason. Again, speaking about McNuggies, right now they're 2-1. They're coming off actually a big W. Sorry, they're coming off a loss. Pardon me, to Balls Deep last Sunday, but they knocked off Chief Bandits. They knocked off Block Party. So a couple of legit wins. Again, looking to get back in the win column. They're taking on Daycare actually. Wow, February 19th. So from the January 26th to February 19th, that's a big gap in between games, but it is what it is in terms of the schedule.
mhm.
Um, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. I don't know. For me, I don't have anything else for this division. I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on.
Just one last thing. So if we look at the bottom of the list, right? So you have Purple Blood, the Wesleys, Ghostbusters, What's Going On to Carry the Boats, Chef Bandits, Force One. Out of these six teams right now they're all technically if the season ended today, they would be eliminated.
But,
Who would you give your best if you had to pick one team? Who would you say that gets out of the red bubble?
oof, that's a good question. Looking at it right now, I guess I'd have to put my money on. I was gonna go Purple Blood, but I look at their offense; they just struggle too much. I'm gonna say actually, you know what? I'm gonna say who's going to carry the boats. And the only reason why I say that is because they played 4 games, as has the Westies, as has Purple Blood, in terms of teams that are struggling right now on the outside of the playoffs looking in. But they have 116 points so far scored. The defense does give up a lot, but at least they've shown that they put up triple digits in points. So that has to count for something in terms of who's going to carry the boats. So if I'm looking at it right now, and they have some experience on this team. So Abigail Cockerton, I played with her, I think, her rookie season in FPF. The one year I played co-ed, she's a player. She's a great snapper in that. They have they have some experience on this team. Yeah, Gabrielle Fortin's there. Alex Zalipsky, is a great rusher in the higher divisions. Andrew Grant's played a game for them. Devin Daou. So if they could kind of solidify that roster, and Jenna Rougeau too, she's solid. If they can kind of just get some continuity with their roster instead of having a bunch of subs in and out, I think that's a team that can make some noise. Because yeah, they have a talented squad. Yeah, Alex is the quarterback there. 15 TDs, 6 INTs. He's a great. He could rush the ball. He can run with the ball in his hands as well. Make some plays with his legs. So that's a team I think that, again, just have to get some continuity with that roster. But that's the thing. I think that's a team and who's going to carry the Bulls. So I think they'll make the postseason and get out of that non-playoff bubble.
Okay. All right. So that's about it. We go to co-ed 1 now.
All right, so the top of the line here, the best of the best in co-ed one. I mean, this is an intense division. So you have Kevin Wyeth now playing for the first time in co-ed one. So all the other quarterbacks in co-ed one have to be like, oh god, this guy's now he's here now too. Like, come on now. Um, yeah, as you know, right? I mean, this is tough. I mean, you have 12 teams, 8 make the playoffs. So, and that kind of line between making the playoffs and not is thin, right? We see there's one, two, three, four. There's 4 teams with 2 wins. Sorry, 4 teams with 1 win, 2 points, right? So Dominoes and Monarchs are in right now. Kiss My End Zone and Easy Fun are out. But I mean, anything can happen. We have Fit Squad, a team you talked about earlier, right? They're a veteran squad that knows how to win. They're in there as well. Party Mix, another veteran squad, right? Led by Francois Delorier, Catherine Peach. I mean, some of the old heads, OGs here in FPF on this squad, right? So I mean, this is yeah, they have yeah, Catherine Peach looking at it right now. Yeah, JD Chevalier, Jonathan Chevalier. No, no, it's not. Yeah, it's the same person. Yeah, from the Braves. Is it JD Chevalier?
For what team? Sorry.
For Party Mix.
Oh
Right now, I'm
yeah.
looking at it
I don't
here.
think he's. I don't think he's played a game.
It says he's played 2, but I'm not sure because it's Jonathan Chevalier, but I'm not sure if it's. I could just go on and click his name and check. Doing that right now. Okay, no, okay, so that's a different Jonathan Chevalier. My bad, it's not the one from the Braves. But anyways, this guy, I've seen this guy play before. He could play. He's a player.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, I have him popped up here too. No, he's a solid player.
Yeah. So yeah, they have veteran experience. I'm looking at the standings right now though. I'm surprised, right? They're as I said, they're 0-3 right now, right? I mean, and that's a shock because again, Francois Delorier has always had his team in the mix, right? They're always a solid team. You could bet on them to make the playoffs. And I mean, Laurence Lamy, I've seen her play before. She could definitely play. So yeah, I'm a little surprised right now. The record is what the record is. I mean, it says AJ is on the roster. I don't know how accurate that is. If he makes his debut later in the
No,
season, that's going to be a
AJ's
huge get.
AJ's playing with the Dominoes this year.
Okay, so it's wrong then. He's not supposed to be on
Yeah.
the roster. But again, Party makes 34-19 to the merge, 47-20 to the IG team. That's fine. And they're losing 39-6 to Plenty of Fish. So when the last 2 teams, especially that I'm talking about, Plenty of Fish and the IG team, those are teams you expect to be in the championship hunts, right? It is again. I'm surprised Party Mix right now is 0-3 on the season, especially with some of the
Yeah.
names.
Well, I think one thing I have to say is that just looking at co-ed 1, uh, there's a lot of good teams, a lot of veterans. You have a lot of talented female players that are playing right now. You have a lot of talented male players that are also playing.
Yep.
So I believe, like back in the day, Party Mix, I think they kind of got away with uh, winning games and making into the playoffs because they played against less experienced teams. This year, from what I'm looking at, there's not one team that doesn't have experience. You have the
Yep.
IG team that has experience. You have the Merge that has a bunch of athletes all around.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's the quarterback. I just want to make sure the
Yes,
merge is yeah. So
Mark Andre
the merge
Reeves.
is kind of like a mix with the team that plays in Division Two. Or a team that plays like in the Joliet division
Yeah,
league.
it's Shake and Bake. There's like
Yeah, exactly. So
Remy Lego and Hugo
you
from
have a
Shake and Bake.
mix. Yeah, you have a mix of shake and bake. You have a mix of Crocs and women's
Yeah,
Division One. You have a
yeah,
couple girls that play on that team. So again, a very veteran team that they've played with each other before. Good
yeah,
quarterback as well.
yeah,
Then if you go down, you have Plenty of Fish, veteran team with Maule.
yeah,
No, Plenty of
yeah,
Fish is yeah, Maule, yeah.
yeah.
There
No
you
God.
go, amazing quarterback.
Yep.
You have pass whipping. You have Banna Nice Try with you have Jeff Rosenblatt. That's with the Sarah Parker and the Sub
Yeah,
Zero type of
yeah.
girls with Sanders on that
Mm-hmm.
team. You have Dominoes, which is also a fully loaded team as well with Kevin Wyatt. You have AJ. I'm also on
Yeah,
that team. You have
yeah, yeah.
Rochelle. You have Gigi. You have there's so much talent all around. You have Kiss My End Zone. You have Easy Fun. Like you have all these veteran talented team. So there's no like I don't think there's one week where you're going into a game and you're like, oh, this is going to be an easy game compared to a couple
Exactly,
years ago where
exactly.
you were playing co-ed and it wasn't as popular. So you would get these teams that kind of just blended a couple girls together, or a lot of guys would end up making a team with their girlfriends and their girlfriends weren't that good. But now like everyone is good. You know, there's not you. I don't think there's one team where I'd be like, oh yeah, this is going to be even like for me being in this division, I don't see there's one team where I'm like, oh, this is going to be an easy game, unless they're missing a quarterback or they're missing some players. But
Yeah,
it
yeah,
seems
yeah.
like every game is going to be good, and you kind of can see by the rate of the standings. Like you have IG 3-1, the Merge 3-1, Plenty of Fish 3-1. Hush, Mazos, 3-1,
Yeah.
pass whipping 2-1. Like
Push Brazil.
you have everyone has a most positive
Yeah,
record, and the teams that are kind of not looking that good, like you have us, you have Kiss My End Zone that are 1-2, but again, veteran teams that
yeah,
even though we're at the bottom of the bottom of the pack, you know, so it just goes to show. That's one reason why you have Party Mix that are 0-3 and you have Fit Squad that are 0-3. You know, same thing with Easy Fun that are 1-3 and Kiss My End Zone that
yeah,
are 1-2. Usually, like if you look back, maybe a year and a half ago, it's completely different. You would have Kiss My End Zone at the top team. You have Easy
yeah,
Fun at the top team. You have Fit Squad. I don't think they usually play Division One. I think this is like their first jump. But you would also see them at the top, and same thing with Party Mix. You would see all these teams. It would be like a
yeah.
reverse, you know. But just because there's so much talent right now, and there's so many teams that are playing Code One, it's a complete different story.
Yeah, no, definitely.
From
I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, you're right. I'm looking at the time, like I'm looking at Hooch Mazuz right now. I believe that's Tam's team. Like Tam, again, one of the OGs in FPF, right? I mean, he has Gabe Charles, Dab, Champagne on the team. Pat Jerome's played a game. He has Xavier Couture's on the team. Even look at some of the females, right? Christophe Jumel, Effie Patron. Yeah, there's some talented play. So Jessica, yeah, Jessica Monpoint, I believe her last name is. Yeah, she can play. I've seen her play. I've seen Giroux. Yeah, they have talent. So like every team has talent. Like that's pretty much your point.
yeah,
Every team has talent, and like you said, there's no easy victories. So I want to go back to the merge for a second. You're talking about the merge. Obviously, again, we talked about the two guys for Shake and Bake, and Hugo and Marc Andre. Shout out to Lori. Lori is awesome. Again, member of the scorekeeping community. She's a veteran. She's a playmaker, right? Lori, you play Lori any side of the ball, she'll make a play for you. You got Jasmine Farmer on that team as well, right? You got Serge Pilon Jr., right? It doesn't get too much better
yeah,
than that. That's definitely a team that can make some noise. Um, and Mary Joelle Vandell as well. Yeah, like I said, every team is stacked here. I'm looking at the matchups that are coming up on the schedule. So you have some teams again looking to get out the seller. So Fit Squad again 0-3 right now. They're taking on a merge. Right, that's going to be the next game. So that's going to be can maybe Fit Squad get an upset and kind of get their season back on track. We're gonna have to wait and see. We have Easy Fun taking on Party Mix. So two teams hungry for a W. Easy Fun does have one win, but again they're at 1-3, whereas Party Mix, as we said, is at 0-3. Right, so two teams fighting to kind of get out of the basement. of co-ed one. We have Pass Whooping and Plenty of Fish, so that should be a really good matchup between two teams right now. Plenty of Fish is in third, Pass Whooping is in fifth. They're separated by 2 points, right? So I think it's going to go down to the Dominoes and Monarchs as well, right? So I mean, as you know, right, some good matchups, and like you said, there's no easy W's, which is what you want to see, right? In every division, you hate when you have these
Yes.
teams who either have no business being in the division that they're in, or even if they do, they just can't get their act together, and that's not the case for co-ed one. I want to ask you, obviously playing in this division, the IG team has been like the kings and queens of the mountain, if you will, the last couple of seasons, right? Led by Jean-Lee Alexi and the whole crew. They're a veteran team. They know how to win. You could kind of bookmark them being in the championship or at least the semifinals, guaranteed the last couple of years. What do you think is going to take to kind of knock them out of the top spot? Because again, you have all the Alexis. They added Marvin Steinberg onto that team. They got Constance Millar, who's a fantastic player. There's Gabrielle Poisson, who's a really go hard, plays with a little bit of edge. She's tough. What do you think is going to take this year for the IG team, pardon me, to kind of be knocked off the mountaintop?
You have to slow down John Sleep. You have to slow down John Sleep as a rusher. You need to make sure whoever's rushing him has to contain him because he's the type of guy. Even when he plays Division One and or Division Two or Division 5v5, if he's able to be your rush and kind of just run around, he's gonna make you pay for it. He's gonna score a lot of touchdowns. He's gonna use his legs. Your rusher has you have to have a good rusher on him. If you have a good rusher on him, good chances are you'll get out with a win. But if your rusher can't contain him or can't get any sacks, he's a type of quarterback. When he's there, he's gonna make you pay for it. So I've seen him play. Whatever. I've been his teammate for a while now, and when he's at quarterback and he's scrambling, when teams don't have a good rush on him, he's gonna make you pay for it. So
Okay.
that's one thing that you're gonna have to do to get that win from them.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, you have a solid roster. It's a solid
Yeah.
roster around, but for to get what for to beat them, if you could get a good rush on him, it's a good start to get a victory.
Right. Okay. Okay. Easier said
Uh,
than done, but I mean,
Yeah,
see what happens.
no, exactly. Very easy. Just not a lot of rushers can, especially in co-ed one. Like when a lot of, I think what you have to do is also you would have to take one of your good athletes that maybe don't rush as much, one of your fastest players, and be like, we're gonna need you to rush this game and kind of
Right.
and
Right.
live by
Right.
it and try to change some things up. So the four teams at the bottom, right? Kiss My End Zone, Easy Fun, Fit Squad, Party Mix.
Yeah.
Um, I do feel like Fit Squad and Party Mix out of the 10 out of the 12 teams, I feel like they're probably at the lowest. Party Mix has a very good female cast around them. They have a lot of good females around them. Same thing for Fit Squad, but when it becomes the male aspect for the athletes, I don't think they come to par with the other teams that are in the division.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, you can definitely make that argument. I think you could definitely make that argument. I mean, again, no shade at some of the guys that are on that team, right? For
Oh,
it's for
no,
squad. Sorry, this is party match you're talking about, right?
yeah, exactly. Well, both
Yeah.
both teams. 'Cause I'm just saying, like looking at it, if you could choose three guys, right, in each team, I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. I think you take the opposite team. That's
Yeah.
just me. But I think that's something where they're gonna have to just adjust to. And
Right. Right. Yeah, because you look at Fitz Squatter and it's guys like Francois Delorier. I mean, he's a little long in the tooth. Still good player, and respect everything he's done here in FPF. But yeah, you're right. Like you look at a team that has like AJ and John Lee Alexi and or yourself, right? I mean, you're gonna take a team with those guys over a team with Jonathan Chevalier or Francois Delorier, guys like that. Right? Just in terms of I guess you could say the current ranking of players, and this is what it is. There's some guys who are better than others. Same thing for the females, but specifically for this conversation, yeah, there's some guys like I'm gonna take a team with you and AJ, or take you and AJ on my team over a guy like Francois Delorier or players
Yeah,
like that, right? Like
yeah,
it is what it
exactly.
is. No disrespect,
So
but it is what it
no,
is.
no, exactly. So my question was, I was getting at was, so you have Kiss My End Zone, Easy Fun, Fit Squad, Party Mix, right?
Yeah,
Out of the full rosters, who do you think has the better roster between these four teams?
it's a good question. Uh, so chemistry is not a problem for any of these teams. I mean, they've all been together for a decent
Exactly.
amount of
A
time.
while, yeah.
It's a good question. I want to say I'm looking at Easy Fun right now. Obviously, JC Ferland, he's the captain of the team. Jeremy White, Justin Gauthier. I like what they have in terms of their roster. They are kind of deep. Nicolas Blais as well. Um,
If it does help you,
um,
Jeremy White only has played one game so
yeah, that's
far out of
true.
the.
That's true. That is true. But he's always with those guys. Like him and JC and all those
Yeah,
guys are
yeah.
always together. I'm looking at Kiss My End Zone right now. So obviously you have Isaiah Allard, right? You have Isaiah. Looking at it right now. Yeah, Rakemi Joseph, he's a solid player. Yeah, Chippy, she's good too. Wow. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go here. So James Drydale has played a game for Kiss My Inside. Again, that does not mean he's part of the roster. That could just be a substitution instance.
Hmm.
I'm gonna roll with Easy Fun. I think from top to bottom, Easy Fun has the better roster.
Okay.
Who would you pick?
I would go Easy Fun too, just because they also been in co-ed for a while now. When Jeremy White is there, he is a game changer as
Yeah,
quarterback. He's
yeah.
mobile with his legs. He's very hard. He's a hard quarterback to rush, and just athletic wise, I feel like they're actually one team where their females are not the greatest compared to other teams, but they make plays and they have to make plays and they get to where they get to where they have to get to. Like last night, I saw them scorekeeping. They only filled a five man roster. They had
Wow.
three
Okay.
females and no, three females and two guys, I believe. And I think they pulled up. They played versus Kiss My End Zone, and they put up 34 points, and Jeremy White wasn't even there. So if you
Yeah,
can put up 34 points with just five people, and one of your best players are not there, it just goes to show like how athletic
yeah.
you guys actually are.
That's
So I
exactly
would
it.
also give it to Easy Fun. Going up to the top of the roster, so the guys in the teams in green, who would you give the best? It's a hard question to ask because I know it's a lot of players to
Yeah.
look at. But who would you give the best roster out of the top eight teams?
Good question. Uh, Looking at it right here, I want to say, that's a really good team. Jeez. I mean, I could take the easy answer and say your team. I mean, there's you, there's Rochelle, there's AJ, Jamal Noel. I've gotten to watch him play the last 2 seasons. He's a phenomenal player. I'm gonna go with you guys. Actually, I'm gonna go with you guys. I've had a chance to watch you guys play a couple weeks ago at the Stinger Dome. I came away impressed. Obviously, again, you, AJ, Emma is on the team. Gigi's on the team. So the female players you have on your team are game breakers. Like they're studs, or I don't know if you could call lady studs, but they're they're fantastic players, and they can make a play on both sides of the ball. Kevin wasn't afraid to put the ball in their hands either. I believe Rochelle got a huge touchdown in a game that I watched. Again, yourself, you're on the team. AJ doesn't get too much better than that. So I'm gonna pick you guys as my choice for top roster and top team, and co-ed one. Okay, no disrespect to
Okay.
any of the other teams. The Merge has a good team. Pass Whipping, Hoosh Mazoo's, Banner Knights try, like the Monarchs. Everyone has a good team here. The IG team, again, can't disrespect what they've done over the last couple of years, but I mean, you have to go at quarterback, and you
Yeah,
have, yeah.
yeah. Just that's what. If anyone asks me a question like that, I just say Kevin Wyatt. Like
Yeah,
I
fair
feel like
enough.
when you have Kevin Wyatt, anything is possible.
There you go. Exactly. All right. So you want to hop over to women's too?
Yes.
All right. So looking at the ladies for women's two right now. So I believe, yeah, there are. I think I had it right the first time. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we have 18 teams here. So 18 teams, 12 make the playoffs. We're at the hour 20 mark, so we got to try to bang this out quickish. Yeah, 12 teams made the playoffs out of 8 teams. A lot of familiar teams: the Crocs, Linux, Citadin, Valhalla. I've seen a lot of these teams play. What jumps out to you right away about women's two?
The Crocs 5-0.
Yeah.
The Crocs 5-0 is something where it's surprising because they are a veteran team. Uh, I'm not exactly sure. So I watched them play yesterday versus Chaos, and then I watched them play again. I forgot what week it was. So I've seen two of their teams. I just want to make sure it's the same quarterback. So Catherine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is right. Okay. So I'm surprised they're 5-0, just because how many good, talented teams there are this year for women's one.
Hmm.
Looking at their schedule, they played Hebrew 2. They played hard hitters. They played ex-cons. They played Spartans, and they played Chaos. So actually, if I look at it, Hebrew 2, it's the less veteran team. So I mean, it's a very they could win there. Hard hitters, I have no clue exactly who that is. It seems like look at the picture now. It seems like a couple girls that kind of just made a team together. I see some familiar faces, so that's also a team that they should got to win. Why? So actually, you know what? Never mind. I take back what I said because actually, no, I don't. But it's still surprising for them to be 5-0.
Okay.
Um, it seems like it seems like the back of their schedule is going to be a bit harder. They did have an impressive win versus Chaos last night, though, so it's a good win for them. But to be 5-0, if someone asked me this at the beginning of this season and they're like, "Oh, what do you think the Crocs record would be right now?" I would have told them 3-2 or 2-3. So to be 5-0, that's something that surprised me.
Right.
What would right now? What would be something that shocks you as you look at
Well, what's
the teams right now?
looking right now at the Citadin? So they lost 19-0 to the Patriots, the CHF Saint Laurent, so the Saint Laurent Patriots or whatever. Week one, who the Patriots are sitting at 4-0. Since then, the Citadin, so again, 4-1 record. They're in third place right now. They're deep. Well, they're actually tied with the Pats. But again, the Pats have the tiebreaker over because of the head-to-head. The Citadel defense since then has given up 7-0-0 and 6 points. So I'm a believer in defense wins championships. They've led in 19 points over 4 games,
Yeah,
and they had sorry 32 points. My bad. 32 points over 4 games. Sorry, no, over 5 games. Sorry, I get it right. 32 points over 5 games, and they have the number one offense. They've scored 161 points. I think that's pretty impressive. I like what they're doing both sides of the ball. Athena Ryan, we talked about her earlier. She's the quarterback of that team. She's having a pretty solid season so far. So that's a team that I think is going to make a run. They had that one loss. You want to get that out of the way early, and they did. Like I said, in week one to the Pats. I'm trying to see. I don't think they play each other again in the regular season. Let me just double check that. And they do not,
no,
unfortunately.
they
But
do not. No, there's too many
yeah,
teams.
but again, so they have chaos coming up. So yeah, they played last night. So they knocked off. So they knocked off the Dream Killers 54-6. So yeah,
Yeah, I watched that game.
yeah, exactly right. So yeah,
You-
that's not good for the Dream Killers. It's a team I recognize as well. Again, so yeah, they have Chaos coming up, X Cons, Hebrew 3, Linux. That's a game I want to watch, and Hebrew 2 to finish off the season. I don't think the City Dan suffer another loss the rest of the way.
You don't, yeah. So one thing you could also see is that and I don't want to take any credit from them. It seems like they did play a lot of teams that are either new in the league
Yeah.
or are non-veteran teams. So that when they played the Patriots, I mean the Patriots won last winter. They're the defending champions, I believe so. From when I talked to AJ about it. So they're basically the defending champions. Also, Athenia used to play for the Patriots, so it was kind of like I'm
Yeah.
assuming they knew
Yeah.
how she played, so they kind of that's why she scored 0 points. But then they played the Cavs. I think they played both Cavaliers, and they had two teams, and they played Spartans. I
Yeah.
think they played a lot of teams that are new because that's one thing you get in women's too, right? So you have women's one where you have a lot of powerhouse teams, but we don't have a women's 3 this year. So it's either your
Yeah.
women's 1 or your
Yeah.
women's 2. So you can have a lot of new teams in women's 2. And if your schedule is favorable, you could start playing a lot of these teams. So I don't want to take any credit. The score, as I said, if you could score 54 points versus a team, 51 points versus a team, and allow 7 points, 0 points, you're doing something amazing. Doesn't matter who you're playing, but that's also something to kind of look at.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. Definitely, yeah. With the elimination of women's three this year, you have a lot of those teams who in women's two they struggle, but now they're stuck in women's two, right? There's no other option for them to
Yeah,
play, so they're gonna have to take their licks,
exactly.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
uh, in women's
it's a
two.
learning process.
Yeah,
But
exactly, exactly.
as I was looking at like I think the Patriots are not going to lose a game this year. I think they're going to just kind of steamroll, maybe against the Crocs, but I don't think so. Um, I think they're going to steamroll and be 10-0 this
Right.
year as well. Um, Something to also look at, which is also surprising. Um, Chaos being 0-2 is something also to look at because they're a veteran team. Um, it's the former Red Nation. They changed their name. So I believe they last winter, I believe they were women's 2. I think they lost in the semis. So for them to be 0-2, they did lose versus the Patriots. So a very good veteran team, coached by AJ, and then they lost
Yeah.
versus the Crocs last night. Do you think they're in trouble, or do you think they're gonna be able to do you think they're able to shake off the rust, and kind of start winning some games?
I think yeah. I mean, it's not the start they want to have to the season, but I think they have the talent. They have the talent. They have the coaching to shake it off, and I think kind of make that find their footing and make that second half push. Again, there's still a lot of football left, right? So I mean, not everything is they're chaos. Looking at it right now, chaos is 0-2. Their offense is struggling, only 26 points so far. And ask Lemise why they changed the name. Actually, Lemise, one of the captains on that team. Again, veteran squad, right? Talking about chaos. Allison's the quarterback again. She's awesome. Gigi, Kia, Allen Beckles, one of the top players on defense in this league. Obviously, Lemise, Maryland. So it's a squad. Rochelle. It's a squad that they know each other, right? They all played Vanny together at one point or another, and they've been under the Red Nation and now Chaos banner for a long time. So again, it's early season struggles, but again, this team they made it to the finals numerous times over the last couple of years. I think it's just a matter of kind of getting back the ball and just getting some consistency and some chemistry back, and I think they'll be okay.
Okay, yeah, as I said, getting over the hump. When
Yeah,
you win
exactly.
one game, you kind of get start things rolling. They also the start of the season they did play two. Like you have one team they played two teams that are all that are undefeated. So you have Crocs that are 5-0 and
Yeah.
Patriots that are 4-0.
Well, that's it. They
So
played the two toughest teams, and like you said, the pass. I checked. The pass are the defending champs. So yeah, that's not it. Playing the two toughest teams in your division back to back weeks is not the way you want to start the season. But at least if you're chaos right now, you can be like, all right, we lost 14-7 to the Crocs. 7 points is not what we want to have, but at least defensively they came out and they handled their business. You hold a team like the Crocs to two touchdowns, you know you're doing something right. Now they need their offense to kind of catch up to their defense.
yeah, and they play they play ETS. So
Yeah.
I believe that's the first time I've seen this team. I think it's their first year playing flag. So it's a game where
Yeah.
if they want to score some points, I think this is going to be a game for them to start scoring, to start
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah,
some
and I think they
momentum.
will. We'll call it right here on the pod. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a chaos victory. I saw ETS, they're coached by Simon Dagenet. Had a chance Monday. I had a chance to watch their game at Saint Laurent. Again, they have some good athletes on that team. They're a try hard team, but again, they're predominantly new. And I think a team like Chaos or Red Nation, whatever you want to call them, they should come out and handle business. Like this is a team again. ETS, they have some talent, they got some speed, but looking at the roster, with the exception of Erica Dubois, a veteran on the team, and Ocean Samson, everyone else is a rookie. So there's no reason for Chaos to come out of here with anything less than a W.
Mm. There's the bottom teams, right? So you have the 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Is anything surprising there, or do you feel like I know it's hard to say because there's a lot of teams that we just don't know, but uh Do you surprised by any of the bottom six
Oh yeah.
teams?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I am. So we look at it right here. I can never pronounce this properly. The Spartiats. Yeah, Spartiats. I think I got that
Spartans,
right.
yeah,
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 Spartans.
Spartans.
English. Yeah, 0 points. 64-0, 24-0, 27-0.
Oh,
They
I
played the
just saw
yeah,
that.
they played yep, they played the first game against 64-0 and passed their best team. We've established that. Citadin, solid team, 24-0, then the Crocs. So they played basically the three top teams in the division. Listen, all three losses, that's fine. That's to be expected. But the fact that you scored 0 points the first month of the season, I mean, it's an offensive league. I understand a lot of rookies and you're trying to get your feet wet and get some experience, but 0 points over 3 games, that's a little much. You ladies got to kind of get your act together offensively. I know listen, we're sitting here on the pod talking like it's easy breezy. It's not. It is hard to score sometimes, but again, it is an offensive league. And a lot of the new rules, which we'll get to actually quickly later, have helped the offense, I think, a little bit, at least in some degrees. You got to
Yeah,
score.
but women's haven't changed though. It's been the same thing
Yeah, that's true.
for.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true.
So don't want to take anything from anyone, but it's the
I'm thinking
um
more in the sense like the pro clock. Like I feel the pro clock, you get extra possessions with the ball.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, okay, very true. They do play Hibu too. Their next game. Do you think they score a point? I think they're gonna score at least one touchdown that game because Hibu is 0-2. They've allowed 52 points last two games, so they're allowing 20. They're allowing 26 points per game. So do you think
Yeah,
Spartans are able to crack one in the end zone there, or do you think they're
I
still
mean, I
going to
hope so.
go?
I hope so. I mean, it's again the Hebrew two defense it hasn't been bad. Again, 26 points to give it to the Cross and give it 26 to Heartbreaker. They lost 26-25 to the Dream Killers last Saturday. Yeah, if you're the Spartiats there, yeah, you got to come out at least score a point. So yeah, I think they will. I think they will. Again, it'll be their fourth game of the year. They've kind of had some experience now, got some time under the belt. I think they're gonna at least score a touchdown in that game. That's gonna be my prediction. So hopefully, yeah, they can get some points on the board.
If you had to choose a team right now in the middle of the pack to kind of make a push, make a push, who would you give it to? So let's take away the top four teams. So let's go down to Lennox, Cheetahs, Wolfpack, Dream Killers, X Cons, Hard Hitters, the Aces. If you had to choose one of these teams to end up ending this season, right now they're 1-2. You have a couple 1-2s, you have 2-2s, you have 2-1s. Let's just say, is any of these teams that I mentioned are gonna finish the season 7-3?
I don't know about 7-3, but I mean, definitely finishing maybe 5-5, 6-4. I would say the Dream Killers. I've haven't seen them play yet, and it's predominantly a bunch of rookies, with the exception of Nomi, Forte, and Hertubis. Uh, they have some talent on the team. I mean, again, they have 2 wins, right? They knocked off Hebrew, and they knocked off Hebrew 2 and Hebrew 3, actually. They're coming off a big loss to the Citadin yesterday night, 54-6 at Brassard. But I mean, okay, well, they had the pass coming out, so I think that's a loss too. Then they play Linux, they play X-Con. So I think, yeah, anyways, Dream Killers, again, I like the name, I like the jerseys. They're a team. I'm looking at Linux, so they're coached by Tam, so you definitely know coaching is not a problem for these ladies. They have some talent on the team, a couple ladies I've seen play before. The roster is deep. I'm not going to count all the players I'm seeing, but I'm counting at least 15 right here. I'm not going to go into the whole number, but that's a team. The next again, they're coming off of a blowout loss to the Pats last night too. So you gotta put all the past games with an asterisk beside it. You're playing the Pats, you're gonna get smoked most likely, and that speaks to the talent on their team. But all the other games, except for week one against Valhalla, I'm talking about the next, they've been tight. I mean, okay, they blew out the Wolfpack 40-7. They tied the Cavs 18-18. They smoked they beat the Cheetahs, sorry, 13-6. So their team, they shown they can get some points in tight games, and they can win by a blowout. But unfortunately, they got blown out twice too. But that's a team again. Looking at the next, they have Hebrew 3 coming up. They got Dream Killers. They got the Cavaliers. So I think, yeah, that's a team that could Linux that can make a run in the second half of the season and climb the standings.
Okay. One thing about Lennox is that I believe they're in a stage where Tam is making his official team for the season for his school. So I
Yeah.
believe these are kind of tryouts for a lot of the girls. So when you
Yep.
see their roster and their about 13 to 15 girls. He's kind of like shooting girls in, shooting girls out, kind of to see how they're going to perform against other athletes. So that's something also to look at. I know their last game versus the Patriots, I believe they were I think they were about like 13 girls, and it wasn't kind of like to a situation where he was playing his best females. He was kind of getting a feel of who could
Right.
perform what, who could
Right.
play where.
Right.
So I think they're also they're kind of like in a training camp situation where they're kind of just trying to see who could perform and who cannot perform because he has to make cuts, right? There's no way he can end
Yeah,
up
you can't carry
taking
everybody.
20
Yeah, exactly.
girls per season. So I think they're also in like a practice type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, go on and make a play, right? That's all you got to do if you're
Yeah,
one of the players
exactly.
on that
That's
team.
exactly. All right, I think that's
Okay.
good for women. So let's go to
Go to women's one.
yeah, women's one exactly.
So it's easy. 6 teams. Citadin 4-0, Sub Zero 2-1, Cayenne 2-1, Les Bleus 1-2, Hebrew 1-3, and then the Red Wings at 0-3. So I mean, listen, Sub Zero has been the gold standard in FPF women's division for several seasons. Jacques Voy, Pat Jerome, two coaches on that team. Sarah Parker, obviously the face of or one of the faces of the women's division here in FPF. Fantastic person, fantastic player. Going to be representing Team Canada. I'd be shocked if she's not the quarterback for Team Canada at the Olympics. Let's call a spade a spade. Tons of championship hardware for this team, but they find themselves right now at 2-1 behind the 4-0 Citadin. How surprising is that for you, Quaysie? And do you think when it's all said and done that Sub Zero will kind of reclaim their title and be the queens of the mountain at the end of the season?
Well, it's like they kind of traded wins and losses, right? So looking at their thing, they played Les Bleus, they beat them by 25. They played Cayenne, they beat them by 15, and then they played Cayenne again, and then Cayenne kind of got them. They won 27-26. So I don't think it's anything really surprising. I mean, when you're so used to playing versus the same team week in
Yeah,
and week
yeah.
out, like they play versus they both these teams went to Tampa, the USA National
Mhm.
Championships, and they played versus each other for the Olympic. They played versus each other for the Olympic finals, and Sub Zero beat them, and then they played in their other format called 5-on-5 aired out, and Cayenne won that one. So I think it kind of like they kind of trade wins and they trade losses. So the fact that they're
Right.
2-1, it doesn't really surprise me. Cayenne's a very good team as well. Both teams are amazing teams. They both have
Yeah.
amazing athletes going both sides. So the fact that they are 2-1, it doesn't surprise me because just the fact that they played versus, it's like back to back. You're playing your opponent. I don't think they're gonna play again. I think that's their only. I think that's the yeah. So
Yeah, that's it.
yeah. So that's their tie. That's the two games they're gonna play against, and they're probably gonna end up playing versus each other in the finals as well. I don't want to speak too fast
Oh, okay,
because
okay.
you do have UCAM that is 4-0, but UCAM I believe hasn't played. Yeah, UCAM hasn't played Cayenne or Sub Zero yet. So UCAM kind of played Les Bleus, they played Hebo, and then they played Red Wings. Red Wings is McGill, I believe.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I don't think they could call. I don't think they could call themselves McGill because of sometimes you can't call a team a sport team or whatever.
Right. Yeah, they can't be like the Martlets or
Uh,
whatever. Yeah, I hear you.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, again, McGill is a new team that just started coming into the league. I believe they're going to have a flag football women's team coming soon. This year, I believe. AJ is the coach over there. So
Mhm.
again, no disrespect to UCAM, but they've beaten four teams. They beaten the four wins are against teams that are technically at the bottom of the pack. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I
I
get it.
believe
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so we'll see. Well, again, we'll see. I believe the next game that UCAM plays is going to be Cayenne. So
Cayenne.
we'll
Yeah,
kind of get
tomorrow night.
we'll kind of get a better view of how the top two teams are going to be. But I would say Sub Zero and Cayenne are probably going to end up playing in the finals. So to answer your question, for me. Saying all this, I think Sub Zero is fine. They're 2-1. I don't think they're gonna lose. I don't think they lose another game after this. I think they finish the season 9-1. They'll get the top seed because of the tie break, and they're just gonna try to make their championship run again.
So just going back to Citadel for a second. So you talked about they have Cayenne coming up. They also have Sub Zero. Well, it is their next game, although it's going to be like 20 days later, so almost 3 weeks later. So, anyways, Citadel have Cayenne and Sub Zero coming up. So that's going to be a big test for the Citadel, right? Can they hang with the two teams who you're talking about, who you think are the best in the division? Just again, going back to Sub Zero again. I wanted to ask you about this. So Sub Zero again.
It's 12 o'clock.
Like we said, they've been the top team. To reach the top of the hour here. I expect them to be in the finals. I'd be shocked if they're not. We talked to obviously Sarah Parker, Catherine Gaumont, Caroline Moquin, Joubert, Jessica I always mess up her name. Jessica Bossitampin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Obviously, Tamara Journal, Sabrina Gervais, right? I mean, they're not lacking, and Catherine Gaumont, they're not lacking any talent. My question though about these ladies is, do you feel, and I can't substantiate this. This is not something that's going around the league. This is something that I've just felt watching the games and one or two other people I've talked to. Do you feel that, is it a case of they're not falling off, because you don't want to say that? Is it a case that they're not as dominant before, or is it a case of just the rest of the division is getting better?
I just think the rest of the division is getting better. Also, when, as I said before, when you start playing a team constantly on and off, especially for women's, because it's the one thing I have to say is different between men's and women's is that men's, you don't have practices, right? Like guys, we're not guys, especially Division One, or unless you're like maybe you're the Braves, where you probably have like a practice here and there, or that. But a lot of these guys are not. We're not going, hey guys, Saturday we're gonna rent out a field and we're gonna practice. You know, a lot of these women teams are physically practicing twice a week. They're in the weight room. They're doing training facilities. They're putting in the work. You know, they're doing film. You know, it's like kind of like a job to a point. It's kind of like when you're playing like uni football and you have coaching meetings and stuff like that. Not that intense, but around to that point. So you have a lot of these teams like Cayenne, you have Cayenne, UCAM, and Sub Zero, right? So you have the three. I would say those are, and then Les Bleus. Don't get me wrong, the Bleus also a very good team. You have those four teams where there are teams where they do practice and they do train for games like this, you know. So the fact that you see Sub Zero and you play them every single week, or you kind of see how they play and you kind of watch them and you can watch film on them, like it's not like you're gonna start understanding more things about certain players. Like as Sarah Parker as a quarterback, does she to go deep every second play? Does she like her first play? What's she first to do? When you start keying on tells. So I don't think Sub Zero is falling off. I just think teams are just kind of getting better and they're kind of adapting to how Sub Zero is actually playing.
Yeah, and again, so I try to correct myself. I don't want to say falling off. I don't want to get any hate mail here.
No.
But I'm thinking more the sense of like maybe maybe you can kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit. Because again, you're right. They are playing kind of the same teams over and over and over again. So you have to fight that boredom as well, right? I mean, you have rivalries, but again, if it's always the same teams over and over, like I do women's hockey at McGill. I do men's and women's hockey at McGill, right? And I know for the ladies division, so a lot of these ladies that are playing flag will know this. The RSAQ, same thing for men's university football, right? So as you know from you playing at Concordia and myself as well, it's always the same teams. You're gonna play U of M twice. You're gonna play Laval twice. You're gonna play Sherbrooke twice, and then whether you play for Concordia or McGill, you're gonna face off twice. I've been calling football games for a long time. The rivalries are great, but I find it's extremely boring playing the same teams over and over. And when I played for Concordia, it was the same thing. I know when I played for ConU, we would play like Mount Allison and some other teams. I know I played a lot earlier than you did, but I know after a while it's just the RSCQ teams, and it's the same thing when I call women's hockey games. It's always the same teams, and the RSCQ division is even smaller now. It's ConU, U of M, and Bishops, and it's the same three teams. You played like 7 times a year. I find that incredibly boring. So I could feel for a team like Sub Zero and all the ladies in this division, where it's the same teams over and over, and that just speaks to some of the teams from Women's 2 need to come up to Women's 1, because being fans, we don't get to play in the women's division, right? Obviously. So being fans looking in or doing our job as podcast hosts or when I call the finals games, it is a little repetitive when it's always Sub-Zero against this team or Sub-Zero against
Yeah,
that team. So it would be nice to get more competition, especially for the players, because that's what they want, right? That's what they sign up
yeah,
for. But that's another topic for another time. Just getting teams to avoid being in the lower divisions and come up and play with the best of the best.
yeah, exactly. We
But
also like a finish. Continue.
no, I was gonna say no, no. I was gonna say like
Yeah,
I just think that it's just a thing where I'm thinking maybe they're just getting bored, which is why they're not dominating teams as usual. But again, I could be wrong on that.
hmm No, I just think as you were saying, I just don't. I think it's more the fact that they're used to just playing the same teams on and off, and it's
Right.
like as you were saying, like you have the powerhouse Laval, Montreal, right? The top two teams for university football. But when
Yeah.
you're playing McGill and you're playing Sherbrooke and you're playing Bishops, and Bishops was in the RSUQ, those were games where you're so used to each other and you're kind of going back and forth where the team's like, we win this time, you're gonna win the next time. Oh, well, we won this season, you're gonna win next season. But you're so used to playing them, and you kind of get familiar of how they play and how they do certain things. So I think it's like the same situation there, where
Yeah.
you kind of at one point you're gonna kind of key on things, right? It's like impossible for offense to kind of change. What they do, especially if it works, don't fix it, right? Like there's no reason to fix something that doesn't work
Yeah.
until it's
Yeah.
broken. I forgot the saying of that. Um, but yeah, so and also the talent wise between all these girls are super good. So you could
Oh,
just see
definitely, definitely.
you could just see like the fact that like every team's gonna get better. Like you're not gonna get worse. You're just gonna get better. And as again, the better you get, the more experience you get playing against these teams. It just helps you even more.
No, 100%. Listen, I always say I'm old enough to remember playing in this league before there were females playing. And I remember asking Rob, how come there's no females playing? And I remember there was a co-ed team. They were police officers. I forget remember the name of the team. It's like a decade ago. There was a team of police officers, and there was a female police officer that came in and she played. And I know Rob is a little leery, I think, because of insurance or what have you, about letting females play. But she's like, no, she's like, she had to sign a waiver, basically saying that she's not going to sue the league if anything happens. She did. She got to play. I know a buddy of mine, Jonathan Williams. I think
Mm-hmm.
he was training a track star. I forget her name. He met her somewhere, and he brought her into a couple games just to rush, and she was phenomenal. And I could say from working for this league for more than a decade, I'm ecstatic to see the rise in popularity of the women's division and the co-ed division as well, and see more ladies take part in football. So one of my jobs besides being a broadcaster, I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, and I work at an elementary school and I coach flag football at that school. So I have a boys team, I have a girls team, and I always try to get the girls to come on at that age for like 10, 11,
Yeah,
12.
yeah.
Sometimes, oh, I don't know if I want to play sports, but then when they get into it, it's awesome, and you get to see
Mm-hmm.
they're having a lot of fun, and that's what you want to do with kids, right? And I look at them and I talk sometimes to my girls team about some of the players that I see in FPF, right? And try to get them hooked on. I'm like, listen, you're gonna fall in love. I love football, so you're gonna fall in love with this game, and you're not gonna want to stop playing. And it's great to see, for me at least, for the kids who are kids, to now some of the females who are in their teens, in their 20s, in their 30s, some even in their 40s, who are coming out and really helping carry this league to as big as it's been, because a lot of the females have a big part to play in the popularity of this league. And I just think for the women's division, again, I remember a time, like I said, when there was no females playing at all to what it is now. I think it's awesome to see.
Yeah, totally. I have one last question before we move on. So women's, if you look, I have it here for the playoffs. So the number one seed, number two seed get buys, right? So
Yeah.
right now you have UCAM at 4-0. You have Cayenne at 2-1, and you have Sub Zero at 2-1, or around those lines. They both have one loss.
Yeah, yeah. Both 2-1, yeah.
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 Do you think UCAM can squeeze in as the 2 or 1 seed, or it's going to go Cayenne, Sub Zero, Cayenne, UCAM?
I think it's gonna go Sub Zero and Cayenne is 1 and 2. My question for you is, I was gonna say, who's gonna be in the finals? Do you think it's gonna be one of those top three? Well, obviously, do you think it's gonna be Sub Zero? I think I know the answer to that question already. And whether you think it's gonna be Sub Zero or not, who do you think is gonna be in the finals in this division?
So I think I think the way the seeding works, because you get a bye, so pretty much you get a bye, then you have semis. So if you get that bye, you pretty much just have to win your semis. So if you get the number 1 seed, you end up
Yeah.
playing the 4 seed, right? A good chance. The number 4 seed is either going to be Les Bleus, which they're 1 and 2. Let me just check the roster. Um, Okay, so they have a pretty good roster. They have a lot of females that are returning. They have a couple of rookies. So actually, that's not going to be the easiest win. I thought their team was a bit different, but I feel like if you get that number 1 seed, your semi match is going to be so much easier than your if you're in the 2 seed. So I think Sub Zero is gonna. Well, actually, if you can actually beats Cayenne or Sub Zero, they pretty much lock up the 1 or the 2 seed because I don't unless they lose versus Montreal. It's a good question. Although they play Sub Zero twice, so no, I think it goes Sub Zero. I'm gonna give Sub Zero the 1. I'm gonna give Cayenne the 2. I'm gonna give UCAM the 3, and I'm gonna give Montreal the 4. So I think Sub Zero is gonna play. I think Sub Zero gets the number 1 seed. I think they're gonna go to the finals just because how the rankings are gonna be for the playoffs. And I'm just gonna give it to Cayenne. I think it's gonna be Cayenne and Sub Zero. I'm gonna keep to what I
Okay. Okay.
from what I.
That makes two of us.
Well,
Okay.
okay, so you think we're on the same page?
Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right,
Same thing. Same thing. Okay, so let's hop over
all
to
right.
five v five quick. I know we're running out of time, so instead of going through each division, let's look at it like this. So we have competitive, we have intermediate, and in the winter we have recreational, right? So three 5v5 divisions.
Yeah.
What are your impressions so far, at least in the winter season of 5v5? What has stood out to you so far?
Just the fact that I like the fact that there's more teams, right? So now we have 3 divisions. Last year we had 2. I think for 5v5, I think we had 5 teams in competitive, and then in rec, I think we had 5 as well. So it's kind of nice to see that right now for 5 for competitive. I believe there's 8 teams, which is pretty cool compared to 5. So you kind of get a schedule where you only play 2 teams twice instead of playing like one team like 3 times,
Yeah.
which is not like the best because you also want to you always want to play new talent, new guys, change it
Yeah.
up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
also have the 2 Quebec teams, Team Quebec U18, Team Quebec U18 A and B. So I find that's pretty cool how they're trying to get the young kids involved, trying to get them better, trying to get
Hmm.
them to understand the game a bit more. So that's pretty fun. I'm excited. I play for the Rose for competitive 5-5, so it's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
cool to play versus some young kids, some young talent, some type of athletes that maybe in the next couple of years they're going to be a part of FPF and kind of leave their mark on the league.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that's pretty cool moving forward. And just the fact that so there's 8 teams in there's 8 teams in
Yeah. There's eight in
yeah there's
intermediate,
8
there's eight in competitive,
yeah
and six in rec. So you mean, yeah, there's
yeah
definitely a good number of teams I think in this division. I mean, you put it all
yeah
together, I believe it's 22 teams.
it's changing from last season where we just had maybe I think 10. So right now we
Yeah,
have 8 plus 8 plus 7. So I think there's like 23 teams compared
yeah,
to the 10. So that's actually a 13
yeah.
team. And also you have Quebec U16A and you Quebec U16B too as
Hmm.
well. So that's something that's pretty cool to see as well. You have as I said, younger athletes kind of in the league as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
That's
you have younger athletes, you have some of the older guys. I mean, there's your team, there's the Braves team, so you get some of those veterans, you get the younger kids. And again, I think that just speaks to the popularity of flag football as a whole, right? Again, Olympic sport in 2028 is coming, right? The popularity has never been higher. Even you look at the Pro Bowl that happened, I believe it's happening today. I mean, it's all flag football games and that for the NFL, right? So flag is definitely, it's never been bigger and it's just going to grow and grow. Yeah, so 22 teams in all the 5v5 between the recreational, competitive, and intermediate division. So definitely, flag football is not going anywhere. Thankfully, that's why we're here. Uh, Quickly jumping from that, I mean, we've seen so obviously new season, a lot of rule changes. Again, the pro clock this year. 1 foot in bounds to catch a ball. You don't need two. A lot of other rules have been implemented. I know some referees are saying it feels. Some players are feeling it cuts the game shorter with the flow clock. Multiple referees, and again, being a scorekeeper, as you know, I can tell you, it makes the games longer actually and more
Yeah.
exciting. I had a chance to scorekeep 2 games yesterday and for Division Two that I'll be writing about in my article at Con U at the Stinger Dome, and like those games went down to the wire and just gave extra possession after extra possession. You're playing. I'm not playing this season. You're playing. What are your opinions so far of the new rules that we've seen in FPF?
I preferably like the new rules. I like the 1 foot. I feel like it helps the referees too, right? Because I feel like when there was 2 feet inside, it's kind of hard to see 2 feet in bounds instead of one. So it kind of gives that. It kind of shows like it help. It's easier for the ref. So there's no complaints going back and forth. Oh no, I had 2 feet. I dragged a feet. It's like, oh, you had 1 foot. You're good. The pro clock too. I also like it because also when you have 5 plays, it kind of shows, it kind of helps the defense kind of knows like, oh, they only have 5 plays, and you kind of can see like, okay, well, 1 play's gone, 2 plays gone, 3 plays gone, four,
Yeah,
last play, right? Pro clock, like you have 2 minutes. 2 minutes can last 10 minutes. Like
yeah,
I score kept last night, and they're in the pro clock, and they scored. I think they scored 6 touchdowns, which is
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it was crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this actually it's a game changer. So I like that. As I said before, I like the 1 foot now. It helps the referees. When it comes to, I think we made a couple rules. We have the 2 flags now. We don't have 3 flags anymore. We have two
Yep,
flags on each
yep,
side.
yep.
We changed that, so that's pretty good. I find it helps the offense too. You can kind of do more moves. Uh, Harder to deflag, but also we're pretty much their only place that kind of played with 3 flags. So it's a good time. If we're
Yeah,
gonna change now, if we're gonna change, that might as well do it now.
yeah.
What do you like about or what do you not like, or do you like about the new rules?
I I think again it helps an offensive league become more offensive. I mean, I prefer it is easier for the rest for 1 foot. I prefer two just because I think it makes making a catch that much harder. I do like having the clock stopped after a first down and getting the ball out of bounds, as you see even in the NFL, the CFL, so on and so forth. Getting the ball out of bounds, stopping the clock. I think it's awesome. You get a bit more football. Again, the games I scored kept yesterday went down to the wire, and they were fantastic. And I better football is never complained. You won't hear a complaint from me on that. So I think most of the rules are geared towards the offense. I know some of them are supposed to be for the defense. I think
Mhm.
kind of argue on that one, but it is what it is. We get more football and we get better football. So for me, it's a win-win.
Nice. Also, yeah, but also the midfield, four downs to midfield is also something that's
Yeah,
new.
that's huge. That's
That
huge.
that helps the defense. So that's
Yeah,
at
that's
least
true.
we got
You're right
we
on
got
that. You're right.
we got something there at least.
That is true. That is true. All right, man. Again, a lot of big games coming up tonight. A lot of big games this week. I'm looking forward to it. This will do it for the first, well, I guess part two of the first episode of FPF First and Goal. He's Quaysie. I'm Brent. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. So this is like just over 2 hours this episode. We promise going forward we're gonna try and get them a little shorter. Again, this is the first time we're working together and first time doing the pod. So we're trying
Yeah,
to test some things out and see how they go.
exactly. Also this is the first podcast, and we're in week 4, so there's actually a lot more to cover. Now we're
Yeah,
going to be going based on week 5, week 6, so there's not going to be a big gap in the amount of weeks that we have to cover. So it's going to cut down the time extremely. So there's also something to put in.
definitely, definitely. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time on First and Goal, the FPF podcast. Peace.